The case that kicked off the Mini ITX craze is back with a version 2. Let's check out the changes. So I truly do feel like the Cooler Master NR200P kicked off this Mini ITX craze when it came out and got people excited to build in small form factor. Well, here at CES 2024, Cooler Master has unveiled the NR200P V2. Now the changes that they've made are not super exaggerated, but they are quality of life kind of changes. So why don't you come in here and let's do an external tour before we tear it down. So we still have the nice stylings, the nice mesh up top. Honestly, from a quick look and a quick glance at it, it doesn't look too different. The biggest thing is probably the connectors on the top. Now we have two 3.2 Gen 2 USB Type-A connectors and a Type-C. If you circle around to this side, that same kind of styling. This is going to give you a little bit of hint of one of the changes, but the back side, not changed too much. The first major change that we're going to talk about requires me to pop off this top panel. And before, the top panel is where you actually mounted any sort of fans, or maybe even if you used a 140 millimeter AIO to here, but obviously that wasn't the best way to kind of like ease people into building into it, especially if you had connections to the motherboard and you popped this off, and it was hard to kind of set aside. So now they have taken this off and made it just a place for the actual like mesh grill up top, and they've moved the connection points here built into the actual structure itself. And now the real design change of this is that they are allowing up to a 280 millimeter AIO cooler up top here. So that's why they needed a better bracket solution. It is no longer mostly for exhausting air through a couple case fans. So next up, let's tear off this side panel. Once again, we got the removable mesh. This is magnetic, nothing too different. I'm gonna set this aside. And we see we've got the Mini ITX motherboard tray. We've got the bracket for the small form factor power supply. I'm gonna pop off the front here with the normal push pins. We see a little bit of an opening right here, but still a mounting slot for SSDs. But the real important stuff is behind here. So I'm going to take this off. You've got the nice little lip. So when you put it on, kind of hangs on to the edge, and then you push it in. Take this off, and as you can see, the biggest change is that they've added space at the top. So where the original NR200P was mostly about getting a GPU oriented this way, having either case fans in the bottom, or getting the optional bracket on the side here for radiators, a lot of people used it with a tower cooler solution, so it was kind of designed that way. Now they really want people to use AIO coolers, once again supporting up to 280 millimeters here at the top, so they needed to give a little bit of extra room here at the top, so everything kind of shifted down. One of those changes that needed to make is now the GPU is oriented vertically instead of horizontally, and there's no option. They're telling me they're not going to release some sort of bracket or anything to allow for a horizontal GPU. This is meant to be in vertical GPU situations. Now I did ask for measurements, and they're saying it is truly a 4-slot clearance between the GPU and the side bracket. I don't have a GPU here on hand to kind of test it out, but it does truly feel like you'll get 4 slots in there, and it gets right up against that mesh side panel. Also, for the change, that you got this nice cutout hole here, and also this is a removable, oh, I can't do it because it's actually screwed in. So this is a removable tray. It's meant to allow you to install the GPU onto this bracket and slide it in this way. So it's a lot easier to install, especially really long GPUs. And speaking of really long GPUs, it does support up to 360 millimeters. Now this cutout here does have the front panel in the front, and you can tell just there's a little bit of depth here. So part of that is going in and kind of touching up against the front here and allowing just a little more clearance. So they understand that GPUs are getting really long, really big, and so they're including that. They're also including this little GPU stand. So nice little touch. And it is coming pre-installed with one SickleFlow 120 millimeter fan. They say that you can support another 120 millimeter fan here, but it needs to be slim because the riser card is going to be here, and you don't want to block the actual fan itself. So if this were truly built out, you would have the motherboard here, you would have the GPU in vertical orientation, and then one, maybe two fans, and then a 280 millimeter, up to 280 millimeter rad in the top. So it does limit a little bit of compatibility. That's one of the things I did love about the NR200P, is that you could actually do a lot of different variations in this case. It was quite versatile, but I think what they're doing now is kind of focusing it a little bit more and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to actually have this be truly a liquid-cooled solution. They did tell me that there is clearance between the GPU and the CPU. If you wanted to put a low-profile cooler, they tell me it is 60 millimeters of clearance. So technically, you could do a slim tower cooler for the CPU, but I mean it's probably not recommended. It really is meant to be an all-in-one solution. And as you can see, you got the mesh held on by magnet here, but this will come in two colorways. So they have the black version here, and the black version that they're showing off here has the tempered glass side panel. So once again, it just pops off. It has a little lip at the bottom. I'm being careful so I don't drop it. I don't want to break this, but the same kind of thing. And they're saying from the back of the GPU bracket to the side of the glass, we're talking about the same true 4-slot cards. But obviously, if you're going to have a tempered side glass, you don't want the GPU right up to the side. I probably wouldn't want to go more than 3 slots, but we'll see with some testing. Oh, and actually, you know what? This one has the included Gen 4 riser card. So this would plug into your Mini ITX motherboard, into the vertical orientation. So once again, it's very subtle changes to this V2, but I actually dig it, and I'm excited to build in it. Once again, they kind of took away some of the customization options that people have loved about the system, especially being able to add these side bracket to the panel. But I'm curious to also see performance, because the NR200P, even though it was highly customizable, was pretty performant for a small form factor. So, and there is now stiff competition in the marketplace. They tell me that it's going to be coming out in February. That's actually on ships as we speak, so it is on the way, and it's going to come in at the same MSRP of $140. Now, you can get the V1 right now still on the market for about $110 is what I looked up before I started this video. So there might still be some reasons to go with the V1 over the V2 depending on the configurations that you want, but I do like the changes made in the V2. But that's not the only case that they're showing off here at CES. I do want to touch quickly on a couple more. This next one over here is the TD 500 Max. Now, the thing that I want to point out about this is that this is the first one to have these backside connectors, essentially almost a pass-through of some of the power cables. So you've got the 24-pin motherboard power cable, you have 2 of the CPU power cables that come out here, and then support for 1 PCIe power coming out here. Now, we saw a concept of this design at Computex, but this is the first time they're actually shipping it with these connectors. And once again, this allows you to plug your cables in the back and then cleanly and easily route the cables here to the front. And the last one I want to show you is over here. This is the MasterBox 600. Now, it is fully built out, and when I first saw this, I was like, wait, that is a Project Zero motherboard. That is one of the backside connector motherboards that is all the rage lately. And when we were talking to the PM, they pointed out that not only is this compatible with MSI's Project Zero, I'm going to flip it around here, it has cutouts for all 3 of the major specs. So Project Zero, BTF, and Gigabyte. And Cooler Master tells me this is the only case on the market right now that is going to support all three of those standards when it comes out. So that is cool. It gives you the maximum compatibility to use whichever motherboard design you want and still use this awesome case. Once again, I am most excited for the NR200P V2. So excited that maybe I can just walk out and no one will notice.